So we'll start from our beginning. Anyone wants to chant? Shishadri, you want to chant? Okay. Do you want to do the first mantra, Shuklam Bharadram?
Yeah.
So chant it slowly.
Yeah. Hari Om. Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum Sachivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Vyayet Sarva Vikhnopashantaye. Shukla. One more time.
One zero.
Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum Sachivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Vyayet Sarva Vikhnopashantaye.
Anyone wants to do second one? Krishna, you want to do second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vyasam vasishtanaftaram shakte pautramagalmasham parasharatmajam vande shukatatam taponitim.
Okay. Nitin, you want to do the third one? You're okay, comfortable or not okay? You can do third one. You unmute yourself. Unmute. Okay. You want to do third one? You're confident or you want me to do it?
We'll do it.
We'll do it, sir.
Okay. Do the third one.
Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha.
Next one also do it. Avikaraya Shuddhaya
Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishwave Sarvajishvanave.
Okay. I think we did up to number 4, correct? Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from number 5 we'll do. Okay. So yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhanat vimuchyate namastasmai Vishnave Prabha Vishnave Yasya Smarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhanat Vimuchyate Namastasmai Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. So this mantra is the salutations to the Lord. So, smarana matrena. Smarana means just remembering. And matrena means just by remembering the Bhagavan. So, you do not need to do anything more than just remembering the Bhagavan. And remembering who? Remembering the Lord of this text is Vishnu. So, just by remembering the Bhagavan, yasya smarana matrena, what is the result of this? Janmaha, samsaraha, bandhanat. So, janmaha means birth and samsara indicates the endless transmigration or the endless birth and death. All of us have been born many times, have died many times. We could have been some other form. So there are more than 840,000 species in this entire universe, and each of them are unique species. So there's not one species which is the same as the other one. And human being is one of them. So if we are going to be one among the 840,000 species, because we are the only human being who can talk, the only species who can understand, who can interpret, who can read, who can chant, so many things are there. Any other species in this universe cannot do what we are doing. Is it correct? So we must be very, very fortunate to be given a human body. Very, very fortunate. That's why in Viveka Chudamani it says, Narajanma Durlabaha. Means, see, labate means achieving. One can get. And Durlabaha means what? It is impossible to get a human body again. So we must not be under the impression that next Janma is there and somehow we will pass this time here. And when we pass away, there will be another Janma when there can be human being. It is not guaranteed at all. Because nobody can guarantee anything in this universe. So that is why he says here, just by remembering. So yasya smarana matrena. So smaranam is very important. And result of is what? Janma samsaraha. Bandhana. See, bandhanam means bondage. So there is a bondage means something is tight. See, nobody is physically tied to anybody. So you're not tied to your mother, I'm not tied to anybody, or your father, or to your brother or sister. We're not tied to anybody physically. But emotionally, we are all connected. Emotionally, we are all bound with each other. How? Emotionally bound. So human being has got emotions. Even animals have got emotions, but they cannot express emotions. They may also, dog also will weep, dog also will, but it cannot say anything. But human being has got the capacity to express emotions. So this bandhanat, we say, yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhana. So just by remembering this Vishnu, one is freed from the samsara. This is the literal meaning of the word. But in reality, just by chanting, one will not get freed. It says that at least you do this. If you cannot study Vedanta, which is the deeper meaning of the text, see, there's a very detailed Bhashyam for Vishnu Sahasranama. It will take me 2 years to complete only the Bhashyam if I do that. So this will still take about a year, more than a year. But the Bhashyam is very elaborate, very, very elaborate. And in that, there are different versions given, different names are given, why it is like this given. Okay. So bandhanat means bondage, and samsaraha means the cycle of birth and death. So this is constantly we are born, constantly we are living, constantly we are also dying. Then vimuchyate namastasmai. So by remembering the Lord, vimuchyate, I get freed. So muchanti means freedom. So what freedom you get? You get freedom from this samsara, or this freedom from this. See, all of us here know that life is not always very happy. We may think that we are happy, but happiness is very short-lived. Today you will be happy, tomorrow you will be unhappy. Next moment you will be unhappy, again you will be happy. So happiness and sadness, they come and go all the time. And if we depend on this happiness or this particular thing, it is not going to last forever. So here the request or the prayer is for namastasmai. Namaha tasyate mai. Namastasmai. So unto the Bhagavan vimuchyate. So when you pray to the Bhagavan, you get freedom from emotional freedom. Janma samsara bandhana. Right. So the whole objective of human birth here is to get freedom from the eternal transmigration and just by Smarana Matrena, you will get the freedom, or at least it is hoped that you will get closer to the Bhagavan. Okay, next one. Then, Om Namo Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. Okay. So this is also Om Namo Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. So this is also invocation to the Lord. So Om indicates what? Om is the sound symbol of the Lord. Om indicates the sound symbol of the Lord. So we have 3 letters which constitute the word Om. It is not O and M. It is A, U, Ma, or A, U, M. So it's a 3 letters word. So the first letter stands for Akaraha, second stands for Ukaraha, and third for Makaraha. So all the letters or anything which chant or anything which speak is covered by these 3 letters called Om. And Om is something which is auspicious to the Bhagavan. We do not have any prayer, we do not invoke anything without starting with the letter Om. So we always start with Om. Because Om is the sound symbol of the Lord. It is a pratika. So there are 2 things, pratima and pratika. So pratima means an image. Pratima means an image, and pratika here means a sound. Just to give a little bit of explanation to you, for some, there are a mixture of adults and children. So for the adults also, it is important to know the word Om itself. See, the word Om is a 3-letter word. So A-U-M. If you put it other way around, it is Uma. U-M-A. So Uma stands for what? Power. So all the 3 letters constitute or the formation of the words. So any word you form will have to have A, or it has to end with these things. So Om, we say like this, the opening of the mouth and closing of the mouth, all the letters are coming in. Also when you're chanting Om also, you must not have an elongated Om. You must not be extending the Om beyond a long time. Some people, when you go to class, some other teachers, they teach Om. So by the time they finish Om, you'll be sleeping in the class. Because the Om itself will make you very tired. It should not be a long extension of Om. It should not be too short Om like this. It has to be Om, Om, Om. So after every Om, you will notice there's a silence, correct? It's a very, very small silence. Om, Om. So there is, after every Ma, there is a silence. And the silence indicates that Bhagavan which is not seen by letters. So all the letters which you see in A-U-M constitute words, correct? And what does the word indicate? Any of the words indicate an object of knowledge. Correct? So if I say this is a pen, so the pen indicates an object of knowledge. The pencil also indicates an object of knowledge. So an object, when you say, it is an item. It is something which is existing in this universe. Physical body also is in the universe. So likewise, there are so many items: trees, plants, rivers, mountains, table, light, lamp. so many things. There are countless objects in this universe which are varied in nature, and they all are signified by an object, by a word. So if I say a word cow, that means cow is a word, right? C-O-W, cow is a word. And cow is a object. So you can visualize an object. And the word and the cow is in this universe. So likewise, there are so many words which are there which indicate an object of knowledge. The great physical body which we are so much dependent on, or we admire and we hold on to it, also is a word. So dehaha, deham is the word for body. So physical body also is indicated by the word deham. And the physical body also is living in this universe. Just as a cow is living, you are also living. Pen also is there. So all the objects are there in the universe. And all of the objects put together what is this Jagat or the universe. So all of the words constitute an object. All of the objects together constitute the universe. So Om is equal to universe. Have you got the idea? How do you arrive at the word? So whenever you contemplate, whenever you chant the mantra Om, you are meditating on not just the word Om, you are meditating, you are chanting or remembering this entire universe, including you in the universe. That means you are not different from the world, you are in the world. So when you are in the world, how can somebody become a problem for you? Only if somebody is external to you, only is a problem. When you yourself belong to the world, this world cannot be a problem for you. So we all say this whole world is plotting against me. I am the one suffering and everybody is enjoying. Why? Because we see ourselves as different from the universe. But the word Om indicates this meaning that everything here is the Bhagavan. That's why you say here, Om Namo Om Namaha. Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. So Vishnu means what? That which is pervading everything. So the Om indicates Vishnu and Prabha Vishnave, that who is effulgent Vishnu. That which is shining everywhere is called Prabha, Prabha Vishnave. Got the meaning? That's the meaning of. So whenever you chant any mantra, see, one thing is chanting is very important. I agree. But when you chant the mantra with the understanding of why you are chanting and what is the significance of chanting, then your chanting becomes more meaningful. It becomes more focused. Then let's see number 6 mantra. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha. Shrutva Dharmana Sheshena. Shrutva Dharmana Sheshena. Pavanani cha sarvashaha. Pavanani cha sarvashaha. Shrutva Dharmana Sheshena. Pavanani cha sarvashaha. Yudhishthirashantanavam. Yudhishthirashantanavam. Punarevabhyabhashatha. Punarevabhyabhashatha. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha. Shrutva Dharmana Sheshena. Pavanani cha sarvashaha. Yudhishthirashantanavam. Punarevabhyabhashatha. So, Shri. So the word Shri also indicates auspiciousness. So the word Shri indicates Mahalakshmi. And Shri also indicates auspiciousness. Somebody who is revered, we always indicate with Shri.
So can you repeat it again, please?
Okay. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha. You want to repeat after me? You can repeat. Nitin, you want to do that? Okay. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha.
Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha.
Shutva Dharmana Sheshena.
Shrutvā dharmāna shesheya.
Shutva Dharmana Sheshena.
Shrutvā dharmāna shesheya.
Sheshena.
Shesheya. Okay.
Shutva Dharmana Sheshena.
Shrutvā dharmāna sheshena.
Pavanani cha sarvashaha.
Avanani cha sarvasaha.
Pavanani cha sarvashaha.
Avina.
See, Pavanani cha sarvashaha.
Avanani cha sarvasaha.
Yudhishthira Shantanavam.
Yudhishthira.
Say this, okay. Yudhishthira
Yudhishthira
Shantanavam.
Shantanavanam.
Punarevabhya.
So can you repeat it?
Punarevabhya.
Navebhavya.
Mashatha.
Mashata.
Okay. So, Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha. Shutva Dharmana Sheshena. Pavanani cha sarvashaha. Yudhishthira Shantanavam. Punarevabhya Mashatha. So, Vaishampayana Uvacha. So, Uvacha means what? Speaks. And Vaishampayanaha is one of the rishis. So, he heard from another person, Vishnu Sahasranama. So he is narrating here Vaishampayana Uvacha. So Shutva. Shutva means what? Having listened. And what is he listening to? Dharmaha. So what is Dharma is said in this Sahasranama. Shutva Dharmana Aseshenaha. Means, see, Shesham means there is some remainder. Okay. Sesham means remainder. Not the Sesham which you talk in, in some culture we talk about Shesham. That means very pure. They will not touch anybody. So it is not Sheshaha. Sesham means it is that which is remaining. And Asheshanaha means what? That which is not remaining. That means in full. So here, Sage Vaishampayana is going to narrate in full. To whom? Yudhishthiraha. Correct. And what is he going to say? Pavanani. So Pavanani means what? The act of purifying. Act of purifying. So Pavanani is act of purifying. And Sarvashaha. So Sarvam means all. So all recourse to dharma from adharma. That means anything which you are doing not correct, anything which we think we are not doing the right, by chanting the Sahasranama, by even listening, supposing if you don't know to chant, you go to a temple, sit there and listen. So, Shutva Dharmana Sheshena Pavanani cha Sarvashaha. So, Pavanani means the act of purifying, and Sarvashaha means what? All. See, he's not cleaning only one part of it, one dharma. Anything impurity we have in the mind, any papa karma which you have done in the past or we are doing now, until that time, he is getting purified by chanting the Vishnu Sahasranama. So, adharma is the one which is not prescribed in our Shastra. That means that which you do is not in conformity with dharma. Hope you know what dharma means. Right? Dharma means righteousness. That means this is righteousness. It means what? Not to speak lie, not to cheat someone, to be clean, to be respectful to adults, to be respectful to your teacher, to be of service to your father and mother. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. So there's an order. So when 4 people are coming and standing in front of you, an Atiti comes, an Atiti means a guest. An Acharya also comes there. And your father also is there and the mother also is there. Who do you pay respects first? It says Matru Devo Bhava, because there's no other person greater than the mother. That's why in the scripture also the women is held in very high regard. Because without the women you cannot, there's nothing, there's no Srishti at all. Correct? So for Srishti also women is required. Power is required. See, even Shiva also, if you look Dakshinamurti, if you look at that photograph, you will see that he has half Shiva and half Uma, correct? Ardhanarishwaraha. That means what? Even Shiva cannot manifest or Shiva cannot come into existence without the power being there. So power is something which is imperative and power represents Shakti. So that's why Shakti worship is followed. Shakti lel Shivam illai, we say in Tamil. That means what? Without Shakti there is no Shiva. Same thing says here that all this papa karma which you do or righteousness which you follow is further enhanced by chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. So Shrutva Dharmana Asheshenaha. So the word Dharmana Sheshena, if you look at it, Shrutva Dharmaha Asheshenaha. Okay. And Pavananicha Sarvashaha. So the word Cha means and. Pavananicha Sarvashaha. So in complete, in totality, all your papams or all your misdeeds which you've done in the past is clear. It does not mean that you go and keep on doing the same thing again and again. What it tells you here, that once you make a mistake, you know what mistake you have done. You're supposed to be more wiser. You can make new mistakes because you do not know what new mistakes are. But you cannot continue to be making the same mistake again and again. Okay. But as far as possible, when we study the text properly, and if you are under the guidance of a good teacher and a good guru, and the person teaches you the righteous things, dharma. See, dharma itself is a very big topic. Dharma Shastram can take you 2 years to study. So all our texts are very big texts. Dharma Shastram, when you say, there should be Putra Dharma, Stri Dharma, Manushya Dharma, Raja Dharma, Samanya Dharma, Vishesha Dharma. So many things. See, if a person wants to be a king, right? A king has to know all the dharmas because he has to be a king to rule a country like this. What all things you need to know? First of all, he should be a son to some person. He should be husband to somebody, correct? And he should also know how to rule the country. Praja Dharma he should know. See, the Praja means the people like us who are living in in the country like this. You must know what is your duties and responsibilities towards the government. So if we ourselves don't know, how can, but the king knows. Even if you don't know, the king will tell you that this is your dharma. You do this. Like in COVID, what they tell you, you don't know, right? They say don't go. If you go, you'll get fined because you do not know about the rules. He tells you, if you don't do this, you'll get fined. So these are all dharmas which are already there. So Shutva Dharmana Asheshenaha. So he says, I'm going to tell you all about dharmas because this particular war, Mahabharata, is fought because not a single person in the Kuru Vamshaha was following any dharma. Had they known Praja Dharma, had they known Putra Dharma, had Dhritarashtra known Pitru Dharma, if Bhishma knew, the Raja Dharma, then this war would not have come across. Is correct? Because they were not knowing the whole Dharma at all, they were continuing to do all the Papa Karmas. Despite being, qualified, they were all big jnanis. But they were not able to follow this. And that's why the war was there. And in the war, Yudhishthira being a person who knows all Dharma, is called Dharma Raja, correct? Yudhishthira is called Dharma Raja because he knows what Dharma is. Raja Dharma he knows. But he still does not know other dharmas. That is why when Bhishma is lying on the deathbed, Krishna tells, you go and ask Bhishma about different dharmas. Because now, he's already passing away. So he doesn't have any obligation to either Kuru or to anybody else. He has fought the war and he has lost. So when he is about to pass away, then there is no partiality for anybody. So he can give you the full vision. But when you are loyal to somebody, then your loyalty clouds your vision. So even though Gandhari was covering her eyes, she only could not see, but she could hear, she could sense the wrong things. So it means what? It does not mean that you do not see things. Even if you hear the things wrongly also, it is not correct. Even if you think also is not correct. So that is called adharma. So Shutva Dharmana Sheshena Pavananicha Sarvashaha. Then Yudhishthiraha Shantanau. So Yudhishthiraha Shantanau. So he again says to Yudhishthira again, Punar eva vabhya bhashataha. So bhashataha means again, now he is being narrated again. So Punar eva bhashataha. So this is again narrated in this field about the Vishnu Sahasranama. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha Shutva Dharmana Sheshena Pavanani Cha Sarvashaha Yudhishthira Shantanavam Punarevabhyabhashatha. So Yudhishthira again addressed Bhishma. Who is Bhishma? Son of Shantanu. See, the word you see there, Shantanu, Shantanavam. So Bhishma is the putra of Shantanu. So he says, Yudhishthiraha Shantanavam Punarevabhya Bhashataha. So again, Yudhishthira asks the same question. Can you tell us what dharma is? Or I want to know what, according to you, what dharma is. So now Yudhishthira is asking a question. Okay. And this becomes the seed mantra for the Vishnu Sahasranama. This becomes the entire synopsis or the discussion around the whole of these questions. So you ask, let's look at this mantra. Yudhishthira Uvacha. So Yudhishthira Uvacha means Yudhishthira is now speaking, or Yudhishthira spoke. What did he speak? Kimekam Daivatam Loke Kimekam daivatam loke kim vap ekam parayanam. Kimekam daivatam loke kim vap ekam parayanam. Stuvantakam kamarchanta stuvantakam kamarchanta prapnur yurmanava shubham. Prapnur yurmanava shubham. So, kimaikam daivatam loke kim vap ekam parayanam. Stuvantaha kam archantaha prapnuyuhu manava shubham. So there are 4 questions asked in this. So you can make a note of it. 4 questions asked by Yudhishthira. Okay. First question is Kim ekam devataha. So who is that one Lord? Kim ekaha devataha. So Kim ekam devataha means who is that one Lord worshipped, or who is the one to be worshipped. Okay. Then the word lokaha indicates what? Who is the one to be worshipped in the entire lokaha? See, there are so many Bhagavans are there. One may ask, why are you worshipping Bhagavan Krishna? Why are you worshipping Ganapati? Why are you worshipping this Bhagavan? They got 33 crore Devatas out there. And everybody is free to worship anything. But here, the question asked is, who should be worshipped and who is the one to be worshipped in all the lokas? So we have 14 lokas, 7 above, 7 below. So in all the 14 lokas, who is the one to be worshipped? So Kim ekam devatam loke. Then Kim va ekam parayanam. So Kim va ekam parayanam means what? Who is the one to be praised? Parayanam. See, parayanam means para ayanaha. So ayanam means that which is to be achieved. See, the word Narayana, it means what? Narasya iti ayanam Narayana. So the word Narayana means Naraha plus Ayana. Who is Naraha? Human beings. We call Naraha. Correct. So, and Ayanam, it means the abode or the destination of every human being. So the word Narayana means not just say Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. So chanting the name also is a good thing, but what it means that what is the ultimate objective of a human being is to achieve the Bhagavan or to know what the Bhagavan is. Is the person really there? In what form is there? How it has to be praised? And how should one reach the Bhagavan? So this is the question which everybody has. Okay. Because when we pray, we are told to pray. As the children also, when I was very young, I was told so many things. So you are taught all the slokas, you chant this, they're all chanting. So we learn because children, we learn. But then as we grow, sometimes people who are inquisitive, they ask, I've been chanting for so long and no Bhagavan has come in front of me. What is the purpose of doing all these things? Am I wasting my time? These questions will come. Some people never ask this question also. It is perfectly valid also. Some people will, in their 85 years also, they will not ask. They will continue to be chanting. See, this is, I'll do this, continue for a long time. I don't want to know who the Bhagavan is. I've been told I'll do this. So they are mechanical people. So they are called karmi. Karmi means just doers. So they are called doers. But a person who understands why he is doing that activity is called karma yogi. Karma yogi means what? A person who understands why he is chanting, when the chanting will end, when my prayer will end, what is the end of the worship, result of the worship. Such questions asked with the person. He is the person who will follow Karma Yoga or who will be led into Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga will only bring you closer to the Bhagavan. See, Karma Yoga also will not get you to Jnanam directly. From Karma Yoga, you have to study Shastra. You will have to study at some point of time Vedanta Shastram to understand what the Bhagavan is. For a person who is just a doer, a pure chanter, somebody does chanting every day in the morning, getting up, 4 hours a day chanting he does, it will definitely give him some peace of mind, some punyam will be there. But it will never give him the visibility of who the Bhagavan is. He will one day just pass away just chanting just like that. And he will always have this. That is why, but the particular activity of what you are doing should lead you to Karma Yoga. That means a person should be prepared for or knowledge. So, Kim Vap Ekam Parayanam may say, it means what? Who is the person to be praised in this particular universe? So, first question is what? Kim Ekam Devataha. Who is that one Lord in this entire universe? Then, how he is to be praised, or who is the Lord that is being praised has to be understood. Right? Kim Vap Ekam Parayanam. See, we have got, Lokaha means not the physical space occupied, but they are called knowledge areas. See, when I say Lokaha, it has got 2 meanings. Lokam means space or the location where he is located. The second meaning is called the different texts which are available. See, we have got 4 Vedas. What are the 4 Vedas? Rig Vedaha, Yajur Vedaha, Sama Vedaha, Atharva Vedaha. Correct? So 4 Vedas. Then we got 6 Angaha. 6 Angas what? Siksha. Vyakaranam. You know what is Vyakaranam? Grammar. So Sanskrit grammar. So Siksha means focusing on the phonetics, letters of the Sanskrit. Then Vyakaranam means grammar. Third, Jyotisham. Jyotisham you all know, right? Then Niruktaha or etymology. Etymology is Niruktaha.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You said some Jyoti something, sir. I didn't follow that. Could you please tell it again? And what it means?
Jyotisham means the science of astrology or the science of doing rituals based on a particular time. So Jyotishaha is also a science. So it is also covering under Vedas. So if you say Jyotisham, it means you'll say you are born on certain date, certain time. You must not do Sandhya Vandanam at this time, or you must not do a particular point of time. They're all time-driven rituals. So we have a science called Jyotishaha. Jyotish Shastram is there. It's a big text. We are not interested in studying what I'm interested in. But Jyotisham also is there. What it means, that the Bhagavan which is specified. See, Kim Vap Ekam Parayanam, for that answer is given like this. So the Bhagavan is praised in 4 Vedas. Correct? He's present. Yeah? You're able to follow or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, 4 Vedas are Rig Vedaha, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. Okay. Then we've got 6 sub parts of the Vedas. One is called Sikshaha. Siksha means the phonetics or the letters in the Sanskrit. Then second thing is Vyakaranam, the grammar itself. We've got English grammar, right? You all know English grammar.
Yes, sir.
Sanskrit grammar also is there. Tamil grammar is there. So every subject, every literature has got some grammar. So Vyakaranam, then Jyotisham, which is this astrology, then There is something called etymology. It means it is based on the analysis of the meanings. How to arrive at the meanings is called etymology. Then we got chandas, which is called the meter. See the poetic meter. Like say, if you want to chant something, you have to have a meter. Meter means, the people who are studying music, they know. Seven suras. 7 different meters. So you start with lowercase, upper, then you just keep going up, then again come down. So chandas. So the Bhagavan is also present in the meter also. Then kalpaha or the instructions, rituals or instructions. So there are 6 different parts of the Vedas apart from the main Veda itself. So this Bhagavan which you are asking to be known, Yudhishthira is asking which aspect is mentioned there. Is he mentioned in the Vedas, 4 Vedas? Is he mentioned in the 6 different parts of this Vedas? Or is mentioned in Itihasaha, history. Itihasa means histories. Like we have Itihasa Puranam, Ramayanam, Mahabharatam, they are all Itihasa. Correct. So elaborate things. Then Puranas. So we have, Vishnu Purana, Shiva Puranam, all the Puranas are old stories. So the stories are told, by our ancestors about, the Ganapati, when he got chopped, the head got chopped, the elephant head came. So they are all Puranas. So we got.
Excuse me, Shankarji, excuse me. Kim Vyapyagrandira Yenge, where is where?
Who is that? No. Who is that one to be praised? Who? First is, who is the one to be praised? Who is one, the entire Lord? Okay. So there is one thing called who is to be known, number 1. Correct. Second thing is who is to be praised also will be known. Okay. So Kim Vap Ekam Parayanam means that's what I was saying so far. So we have Itihasaha, Puranaha, then we have something called Mimamsaha. So just like Mimamsaha is it's a Tarka Shastra. It's a logic. Mimamsaha. Then we have something called Nyaya philosophy. That means what? What is right, what is wrong. So somebody will say that, you're not right. Somebody will say there's no Bhagavan. So there is a text which describes the Tarka Shastra. So it's called Nyaya philosophy. So we have, all I'm trying to give you introduction to all these things. You do not need, if you want to study each of them, it will take you 2 years each of them. By the time you become 60 years old. But don't have to worry about it. Then Dharma Shastram. See, all of these things, he's asking a question. There are so many texts like this. So in all of the text, who is the one to be known? Who is the one to be praised? So if I study Vedas, will I know? If I study Itihasam, will I know? If I study Puranas, will I know? If I study grammar, will I know? Like in Bhajagovindam, when I'm teaching the class, there's an old man who's chanting, grammar. He's standing upside down. He's 84 years of age. And he's starting to study grammar at that age when he's about to go in next 6 years' time. So the question is, Adi Shankara comes and asks, what are you doing? He said, I am studying grammar. So why are you studying grammar? Because if I don't study grammar, I will not be able to read text. Then who said that? You do not need to know grammar to understand the philosophy behind it. Yes, grammar does help you to understand better. But look at the side of age, which side you are there. You are on the wrong side of the age and you don't have much time left. When will you study grammar? When will you study Shastram? When will you understand? You do not have enough time. So the Bhajagovindam is actually taught or on the spur of the moment by Adi Shankara to address the people that you do not have much time in this universe. Do not spend time on unnecessary things. Spend time on what you want to know. Okay. So grammar is an example. It does not mean that you are only doing grammar. What he's trying to tell you is anything which you are spending time on worthless things, useless things, which you think is not going to contribute to knowing this word. Kim va pyekam parayanam. Anything which does not contribute to knowing Kim va pyekam parayanam is a worthless effort. That's what he says. Okay. So tell me that one Lord who is spoken about in all the knowledge areas. So I gave you all the knowledge areas, correct? So there are different types of Bhagavan praised in so many things. Who is the one to be known is what is okay. So what he's trying to do is he's giving you a vision of the whole text literature. So we have Itihasa, we have Puranam, we have Mimamsa, we have Nyaya, we have grammar, Jyotisham, Niruktaha, and we have the 4 Vedas, then sub-Vedas are there. So many things we have got. And every of them there is some text, something mentioned about Bhagavan. So where will I look? Where will I look for him? Correct? Or where should I search for him and what should I praise him? Because he is known everywhere. This is the question which is asked by Vishwa. So Kim Ekam Daivatam Lokaha. So the Lokaha is understood as the 4 Vedas, 6 Angaha, Itihasam, Puranam, Mimamsaha, Nyayaha, Dharma Shastraha. So in all of them is mentioned. So the word Lokaha indicates all these things. Okay. Then Kim Vap Yekam Parayanam, we saw the meaning. Then the third question is Stuvantaha Kam. Stuvantam Kam means Kam Stuvantaha means out of so many things, which is this Lord you are referring to be praised? Or how should we stuti do stutihi? So Stuvantaha means what? Stutihi means how do we pray to this Bhagavan? See, number one, you should know who is the Bhagavan, correct? Second thing, you should know where he is located. Is it right? First of all, you should know what is the Bhagavan, number one. Second thing, you should know where to go and pray. See, if a person doesn't go to temple at all, right? If you tell him to go and worship something, he will say, what, I don't know anything. So first of all, you will take the person to the temple, showing that, okay, this is the temple. Okay. Then he goes to the temple and asks the question, whom should we pray? There is Ganapati there, there is Vishnu there, there is Devi Shakti there, there is Murugan there. All devatas are there. So who is the one to be praised is a question. Somebody tells you go and pray to Lord Shiva. Says like this. The next question, what will come? How I should pray? Comes Tuvantaha. Correct? Because you should know these things. How should I pray? If you do not know, first of all, what to be, the temple itself is there. Such a person will never ask a question. He doesn't even know about anything about it. But if you are accidentally taken to temple and you go there because your parents says, see, you do namaskara for this Bhagavan. And what do you say? Why should I do namaskara to the Bhagavan? Who is he? So, Kim Vapyekam, Parayanam. Sometimes we don't want to go. And the parents tell, no, you have to go. Do namaskara to this person, this Bhagavan. So you have, my God, I have to do this namaskara to somebody whom I don't know anything about it. Right? So Stuvantaha means what? How should I praise him? So you must know, should I chant mantra or should I just keep looking at him? Or what word should I use him to pray is important. So you must know Bhagavan, you must know the location where he is, and you must know how to pray. Correct? Then, Kam Archantaha. So the fourth question is Kam Archantaha. What is Kam Archantaha? It means how should I do offering to the Bhagavan? See, you can pray, but then you also have to offer something, correct? So what is that offering I should do to the Bhagavan? So should I offer him flower? Should I offer him, some fruit? Should I offer him some leaf, some water? Or should I offer him nothing? Some people, they take the wallet out and they will see there are only $100 note. So what say, today not required. So then what do? You just disappear. Then you look for another day. So you talk to the Bhagavan and say, see, today I can't give you. But next time when I come, I'll top it up and give you $150. See, the Bhagavan is not going to come and ask you whether you're going. He is not asking you whether you're going to give or not, because you yourself are the product of the Bhagavan. You have no right to offer anything at all. Number one. But somehow our ahankara, our ego, bad ego, which is God, we think that we can offer something to the Bhagavan. Because the whole physical body which is given to you is Bhagavan's gift only to you. So with that physical body, you're earning money. And with that money, you are trying to offer him something and you're negotiating with him that I cannot give you this. So such a person is a dumb person. So it is very clear. But we do not know, because Shastram tells you that you do not have a right, thereby you offer whatever you can. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, it says here what? Patram phalam pushpam thoyam. He says, right? So what? So he says, if you can't offer me a flower, offer me, a fruit is okay. If you can't offer me a fruit, a leaf from your garden is okay. A leaf, one leaf. See, if you cannot even do that, so if you cannot offer me a fruit, if you cannot offer me a flower, if you cannot offer me a leaf from your garden, offer me one drop of water. See, the Bhagavan comes such a low for category people, depending upon your ability to pay principle. See, in economics, we have got what? Ability to pay principle. So depending upon how you are there, they will tax you according to that. So he says, you cannot, you are a poor person, so you offer me one drop of water. Some people will say that I will not even give one drop of water also to you. Such a person is called adharma. So we are not talking about such people. Here we are talking about a person who is, see, why I am saying, because Vishnu Sahasranama has got 100% connection with Bhagavad Gita. So you cannot ignore Bhagavad Gita, you cannot ignore Sahasranama, because both of them are the same time frame. One is taught by Bhishma to Yudhishthira, one is taught by Krishna to Arjuna. So one is before the war, one is after the war. But the topic is similar, message is similar, but the context is different. Okay. Because there the war is fought, then the praise of the Bhagavan is there. Whereas in the Krishna-Arjuna Samvadaha, the knowledge given is complete knowledge. It includes bhakti, includes dhyanaha, it includes Ishvara Vibhuti, everything, Karma Yoga, all put together. So 700 verses are there. So prapnuhu manava shubham. So prapyati, prapyuhu means what? What will the human being get? Or knowing this, which will benefit the mankind. So the question is asked not for Yudhishthira, he is asking for the entire mankind. So knowing this, prapnyur manava shubham. So shubham means what? Benefit or auspiciousness. So knowing this, by which the entire mankind will benefit, is a question asked. So what are the 4 questions? Kim ekam devataha. Kim ma ekam parayanam. Right? Kim archantaha. Kim stuvantaha. So how do we praise? So what is to be known? How is to be known? Where is to be known? How is to be praised? Right? The 5 W's. So 5 W is management theory. Right? You always said the 5 W, right? What, when, where, why, who. Right? So the same principle applied here also. Without the 5 W's, you will not be able to do anything at all. Any object, anything you want to achieve also, you should know the 5. Right? You should know what you are doing, why you are doing, when you are doing, where you are doing, and who will do also. Right? You cannot say that somebody will do, because you are the person who is going to do. So same concept is being applied here, but it is asked in a different context. Okay. So, Yudhishthira uvacha kimekam daivatam loke kimvap ekam parayanam stuvanta kamarchantaha prapyur manava shubham. Is it clear to you? Anyone has got any questions or anything you want to ask, you can ask. You can raise your hand and you can open, or if you want to share anything, you can share. Everything clear? See, there can be only two things. Either whatever you understood is 100% understood, or you have not understood anything at all. This is also possible. Okay. Krishnaji, you're okay? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Nitin, you're able to follow, right? The boys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're making notes, right?
Yes, sir. No, I'm not making. My mother is making.
Who is making notes? Your
My mother.
Okay. Because there might be some questions I'll ask later on.
Okay, sir.
So make sure that you write your notes, because it's a big text and you cannot go back and run that. Recording is there, of course, but for the recording, you should still have to make notes.
Yes, sir.
So mantra 7 is clear to all of you, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do mantra 8 next class. So from here, also another question asked. So Vishwa doesn't leave, he asks further questions. So 4 questions are asked in this verse. Then another 4 questions are asked in the next verse. And that constitutes all the responses which Bhishma is giving and everybody is giving. Okay. So we'll see that in elaborate next class. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste and Shubhratri to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. The recording will be on YouTube. You can follow the recording and you can make further corrections if you want. Okay. Now, any questions you've got, next class you can ask me or you can put on WhatsApp. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.